maybe, finance or banking, and what input is it employees adding to the industry?
There is no industry without employees. You can have money, if you don't have the people, you will not perform. You can have supplies. If you don't have employees, nothing will happen to the supplies. And therefore, every business starts with people. So you start with labor, which is people, then there's the capital, the money, etc. Then you have the assets, etc. And therefore, HR as a profession relates with finance, relates with supply chain management, relates with law. All of us work together to make a business thrive. None of all of these professions is greater than the other in as far as a business is concerned. Please do note that the HR professional in an organization is the one that brings in the players. So as they execute their mandate with the technical expertise they have as to how a recruitment and selection process should happen, will determine the quality of the input of the employees that you get. So once they come in, you have the money. If they're not the right ones, that money can be disappearing and you don't know what to do about it. If they're not the right ones, supplies will be disappearing and you don't know what it is about. And that's why IHRM today, through our national chairman, the emphasis is ethics and values in the workplace. And therefore, we all are interrelated, and these professions have a complementary relationship with HR.
Thank you. So, in your opinion, what is causing companies that are recently downsizing their staff to, to maybe avoid such situations in the future? And, how as an authority, as an authoritative body, how can you advise companies in the future with regard to their staff, how they can avoid downsizing and, restructuring?
Thank you very much. I think one thing, first of all, I want to give a very brief stretch or about how the profession has grown. It's all known that the HR profession over a period of time started off as the department where you want to put in anybody who doesn't have anything else to do. So if you have excesses of some clerks, can you throw them in? It was called personnel. If you have excesses, or including even engineers who are not doing very well for whatever reason, that this is a doctor but is not really contributing much or is undergoing through certain condition. In the meantime, can you put him in that HR department to be helping in filing and documenting and all that? So already coming from that kind of background and where the world was even then, even as we were getting into the profession, the world had already recognized that at that time, they were saying the most important resource in the organization was people. And now we've even gone further than that. We are saying that where we are going is much further. We came from that background and started personnel management. In fact, this institute used to be called IPM, Institute of Personnel Management. And over time, we grew to the level at which now we got an act and we recognized, and now we can regulate. And there came the syllabus. So that made it a body of knowledge. And what that means is that it is a discipline. It is a discipline like any other. Over a period of time in this country as well, now the recognition came into being and a lot of efforts were made through this institute to recognize this discipline to be what we call today the Institute of Human Resource Management, managing professionals, regulating the HR space. You've talked about retrenchment and restructuring and all this. These are adjustments made by people in order to make people become more productive, And if you look at all the business leaders in the world today, what they are saying is that the moment you treat your people as people or humanly, you don't need to bother about anything else. You don't need to bother about your product line. You don't have to bother about including even technology, that we are saying that people are more important than technology. We've evolved over a period of time. And the reason why we ended up this way, first of all, we are looking at the global context, is because the people were not placed in the right positioning. Locally, it's even worse because we are still far from there. We still have business leaders in this country still believing that as long as legal, or I'm practicing within the minimum legal frameworks. What is the minimum wage? So as long as that is taken care of, I'm okay to push. We can always have excess labor market. I can tell you that the labor market, the professionals are scarce. They're not in abundance. And because of that, then they have the wrong business priorities. Then their profits tend to fall. Then people go into what we call HR interventions. How can we now cut down? How can we make staff all-rounders? And this what the profession is doing to ensure that people who are working, employees, are actually all-rounders, and they give to the best. Just some quick statistics. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission did some research and found out that in this country, the productivity index is at 0.3. That means that what people are producing is just 30% of what they are capable of producing, and we are paying them at 100%. So already that is a first indicator of HR waste. And remember, that is in the global context. Now you can get into the various services. The places, okay, that is on average. The places where we are really exploiting labor. Like traditionally, we are not employing technology towards labor. We are not employing. We're not doing research so that it makes work easier. We are not applying the latest systems and structures, for example. And that is what HR is all about. So it is about people, but more so, there are certain aspects that have been brought into HR, which is actually a study. And I like what the director said, that it is actually a technical area, because there are certain aspects that you cannot actually perform if you're not a professional. This includes things like organization development. It goes beyond people, and the people you have in HR will help you design your organization to maximize on the productivity.
What challenges are affecting the industry of HR, and how does IHRM hope to mitigate them?
Okay, challenges number one, we've got a unit called HR Analytics. People just do not appreciate it or think that it is any important. But I can tell you that we've realized over a period of time that is one important. You make analysis out of every situation. Challenge number two is misplaced priority. That, for example, instead of focusing on the ethics of the organization, and that's where we are challenging even the other professionals, that for us, ethics is number one. If we do not address the issues of ethics in the workplace, then everything else grinds to a knot. Number two, which I think is a very important challenge, is the application of technology. We still have very rudimentary, systems in most organizations, including at the Jua Kali. I don't know why we normally tend to think as that Jua Kali must be really the hard, application of labor. But we can actually apply, and that is why other countries are where they are, because of the application of technology. Now in this country, the conversation is about artificial intelligence and all. Nothing stops us. Of course, we've had these arguments that if you do that, then you will be laying off people. Then no, that is not the case, because we are saying that technology, that people change, and therefore the application of technology will be much more beneficial than harmful. Number three, when you look at labor productivity, how are we harnessing our labor? How are we appreciating the employees in this country? How are you appreciating professionals? And you'll find that it is another area that it is really misplaced, because we tend to think, maybe it is because of the situation where we are, the level of development where we are as a country, that it is all about monetary benefits. We end up with professionals in hospitals, under stressful situations, others to the extent of committing suicide. Those are some of the challenges that now we need to start looking at. What are these areas that what we used to call soft areas that we need to address, as opposed to giving our employees the best uniform, giving our employees the best salary, and it really does not count.
If I may add to the one on challenge, is that we also have a challenge where our professionals are technically competent. They're giving advice to the business, so even the business leaders, business owners, and sometimes it is ignored and it becomes a problem to an organization, and then you are finding litigation in courts that otherwise shouldn't get there. So we have professionals that are really competent, and if they're given an opportunity to give the guidance as they should, some of the cases that we are seeing in the employment and labor relations court should transition. But we are surely getting to where now measures will be meted out to anybody practicing, and yet they are not registered and they are not licensed, as our chairman has said.
Okay. So the partnerships that you have with other organizations in the conference, you said something about ISPAC, you said something about LSK, and what do they entail in detail?
Yeah, we are very keen on partnerships because we are saying, especially in this country, what is actually bringing us down? I can tell you it is the professionals more than the non-professionals, and that is a fact. So we have an interprofessional summit, and we are very glad to be spearheading that. So that, and for us, our main driver is to enhance ethical practices in the entire range of all the professionals. Be you an engineer, a doctor, a nurse, a technician, what is underpinning all these is people.
I noticed that the revenue that you have in the report, they are based on figures from 2017. Why don't you have current figures for your revenue in the past?
So let me clarify and explain that without going into so much detail. First of all, after we got an act of parliament, we started being governed differently. So our college became a body corporate, so it's examinations board, and then we have IHRM, the secretariat, which is led by the chairman of council. The chairman leads all these bodies, and therefore our accounts are audited by the Auditor General, particularly the IHRM, the secretariat. These other bodies have been also going through audits of their own. Because of course they're body corporate, we have to respect that. Now, why is it not all the years? Because we want to move forward as one institution. We are not those fragments, and therefore the accounts that we were to present today are of 2016, 2017, because that's what has been audited by the Auditor General. But our affiliate board has presented more than that. Now at IHRM, our statements are not ready because after the act, the transition, a few things fell through, because then we were trying to organize ourselves as a body. But we are working with the Auditor General, and they have given us the time to put everything ready so that 2017 is done, 2018, 2019 is done, and so that we fall into the plan of audit. So it's not that is going to happen, it is a matter of the transitions and how they have happened. But Chairman may want to add some comment on that.
Sufficient.
Future prospects of IHRM, and by the way, you're a state organization?
We are a state agency.
Or a state agency. And you depend on what for financial growth? Is it membership?
We are a state agency under the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs. We don't receive any money from the exchequer. However, because we are an institution that has a fiduciary responsibility of overseeing matters of the public, I mean our members are citizens and the public, and therefore then we are put under a ministry, but two, we are a regulator in the country as well. Now, how do we raise our finances? We do raise from member subscriptions and the capacity building training programs that we run, and we get sponsorship from stakeholders that have come to support the profession in this country.
For instance?
Or several. There are several companies, corporates, that if you go outside the booths, you will see several others. I do not want to mention one and leave out the other.
How many members do you have?
At the moment, 14,000. I think they're in that report. 14,000 as at July 2019. You will see the figure there. And the numbers are expected to rise. Our estimation is that this country has about 25,000. Not statistically proven, but it's an estimate we generally tend to have. But we have gained funding from an institution in the US that will help us also conduct a research of how many do we really have in the country. But to answer you on how we raise our finances, that's how we do it. We really work with very limited resources to try and achieve a lot.
Reveal the name of this institution in the US? themselves?
No, it's Blue Haven Initiative. They are called Blue Haven Initiative. Yes,
right.
yes. It's our desire and intention that in this country, County Public Service Board, whose mandate is HR functions, are led by a HR professional, or at least somebody who understands what HR is about. And also that our desire is to continue to advise corporations and private businesses that the HR committees are led by a qualified professional to lead them in matters of people as they lead in those kind of committees.
Yeah, public service, again, we are saying we are looking forward for all HR-related management consultancies to be domiciled at the Institute of Human Resource Management.